Okay.
Rolling?
Rolling.
Hi and welcome back to the Smoking Dragon. I'm very excited today to unbox Rune Wars, the miniatures game from Fantasy Flight. This is their new tabletop war game, miniatures game set in the Runebound universe, sort of a proprietary fantasy realm of theirs. So we're going to take a look. This is the starter set. This is the core set. Everything two people need to play in here. 48 detailed plastic miniatures, 2 full armies. I myself have been watching videos left and right about this game, and I was able to get it on sale. It is a $100 price tag on this game, so it's, most big Fantasy Flight games usually run around that. But I've never been disappointed with a Fantasy Flight game, and I guarantee I'm not going to be disappointed with this. One cool feature before we crack open the box is this side of the box shows the bad guys, the undead, and then the other side of the box shows the good guys and their knights and rune golems and such and such. And then all of the stuff on the side of the box. So we're going to go ahead and get into this. We're going to crack this bad boy open. All over the side it says these are unpainted figures, and I've seen a lot of Fantasy Flight games where people were like painting the figures and everything. It's just like a miniature war game. Like, they intend for you to paint these. I mean, they're supposed to be painted. You can play without them being painted, of course, but where's the fun in that? Alright. Fantasy Flight always, it's like hermetically sealed. Okay, so of course you always get a Fantasy Flight catalog. In everything, they like to pimp out their other products, and to be honest, like, all of their other games are great. Star Wars Imperial Assault, for instance, fantastic game. There's actually a Runebound miniature or a board game that is based in the same world and everything like that. Big fan of their living card games. Really looking forward to the Legend of the Five Rings living card game that they've got going on. But then you've got Learn to Play manual. These are always really helpful. Teach you the basics of the game, how to play and what have you. What all the little card text means and everything. Figure assembly. There's an assembly diagram. It looks like, when you get a game like War Machine or Warhammer or, the Batman Arkham Knight miniatures game. I mean, there's tons and tons of miniature war games out there. The kits, the models are always difficult to put together, but these, being a Fantasy Flight, they've got sort of their own way of doing things, and it looks like, just from looking at this, I mean, we'll take a look at the miniatures, but just from looking at this, it looks like each figure is like 3 pieces that easily snap together, so that's pretty awesome. Rules reference. Fantasy Flight usually does this where they'll have the Learn to Play and then they'll have the full rules reference. And a lore guide. So if this is your first setting in the Rune Wars setting, this will give you a little bit of backstory. That's pretty cool. I look forward to checking that out. Alright, so we've got all the templates and stuff in here, it looks like. Now, if you're familiar with the X-Wing miniatures game, which is phenomenal, A+, awesome game. I'm actually a really big fan of all of the sort of spin-off games from that, the Star Trek version, the Dungeons and Dragons version. I've never actually played the original, the Wings of War. But if you're familiar with those games at all, you will notice the styles. This game works similar to that, where you have like command dials that tell you, you choose a command that I want my army to move forward an inch with a arc to the left or whatever. So similar to that, but these have these dual dials, which you can kind of see right there. There's a spot for 2 of them. So I don't know why there are 2. So I look forward to learning that. And more like some terrain pieces, and that's pretty nice. Oh, they're already popping out of there. And there's your movement templates, everything like that. So all that good stuff. Your range ruler, very similar to what you would see in not Magic the Gathering, but very similar to what you would see in the X-Wing or the Star Trek or those sort type of attack wing games. Okay, we've got our dice here and the little pegs to put the dials together. And you know what? I love Fantasy Flight. I really do. I love all their stuff. I've never played a game of theirs I don't like, including tabletop role-playing games, which, you know, they're usually a board game company, but they do have some pretty solid tabletops, especially the Star Wars. I'm quite fond of the Star Wars tabletop game. They just love their proprietary dice, and it sort of irks me because I have 2,000 dice, role-playing dice probably, and so I'm like, you know what, you gotta get me to buy more dice, don't you, Fantasy Flight? You just keep doing you, but always with the proprietary dice, and they do sell extra dice for this. Got the own little symbols and everything on it. It looks like 2d12s and 4d8s, red and blue, 2d12s and 4d8s. So we'll learn about what those do. And okay, so here is the trays. I've never played a miniature game quite like this before. You know, I'm most familiar with War Machine, and in War Machine you have single units that you're moving with a ruler across the table. Well, in Rune Wars you actually have an entire squad of guys that you put on these little trays. So you can get 4 of the single base guys on there, and then you can actually connect the trays too, so you can have a whole squad of 6 guys, or 8. 4 plus 4 is 8. Math is important, kids. So this is going to be new and different for me, and I'm pretty excited about it. You know, from what I've gathered from watching videos and stuff, when you take damage, you know, you just remove a single figure from the thing, and then, like, if you remove them all, then you just take that off there. I've seen lots of people base these like you would base a miniature with the grass and the gravel and everything, so I'm really looking forward to checking that out. That's going to be really cool. But you've got these little four bangers. You got big ones here. There's a single one on it. So that must be for your commanders or the very large units, which I can't wait to show you the miniatures in this because they are amazing. And then this is probably for the cavalry type units. 2 of those, like horses, and the elf army, which is coming soon, is going to have like cats, like saber cats basically as their mounts, so that's pretty cool. So that is the bases for the bases of the figures. We've got all of our stat cards and everything here, rules reference cards. One thing I love, War Machine also does this, War Machine Hordes. These miniatures all have stat cards, so I don't have to have a book, and I don't have to go through and look up, spend an hour looking up, okay, I know this unit can do this unit can do that. Like, it's all here on the cards. Let's see if we can find one quickly. And of course, Fantasy Flight always does real high quality work. The artwork on the cards is phenomenal. Artis Ex Erebus. This is the commander for the undead army, and it's got you know what he can do. I'm assuming his defense and hit points and different stuff here. And then also on the back it tells you like fielding information, like he has one tray, he costs 37 points, and he has a couple of available upgrades. So all that stuff is right here on the card. You don't have to go through the book and remember all of that stuff. Plus, like, how badass a name is Artis Ex Erebus. Like, that just sounds cool. It's like the Rune Golem and the Carrion Lancers. Okay, so let's get to the real good stuff. You know, it's like, yeah, cards, cool. Cardboard pieces, great. Let's see the miniatures. Let's see those. Resealable baggie. But where are they? They're missing. Nah. Always check under the insert for your Fantasy Flight games, kiddies. Because there they are. Now we can get that out of the way and take a look at the minis. 2 massive bags of minis. Look at that. Like I said, 48 highly detailed models in this book, in this game. And this is just the core set. They offer right now you can get 48 highly detailed miniatures. You can actually get right now you can expand your armies for bigger games. You can actually get individual expansion sets for the figures that are in this set. So if you wanted more skeleton archers or no, I think the skeleton archers are... Yeah, you can get more skeleton archers or more of the human like guys on the horses, and I think you can get more rune golems and carrion worms and stuff. But they're doing a staggered release for all this stuff. Like the next army, like I said, that comes out is the elves, and then later on there'll be another one to come out. All I've been able to ascertain from people I've talked to and from research I've done online is that there will only be 4 core armies. Of course, you know, 2 years down the road or a year down the road or whatever, of course maybe they might add some more, but so let's take a look. All the really cool ones look like they're in this bag, so we're gonna go with this bag first. Oh yeah, yeah. It's one of the carrion worms. So it's more pieces than I thought it would be, but a lot of the Fantasy Flight miniatures have these really cool interlocking peg things, so it's kind of idiot proof. Like you can't make it go in the way it's not supposed to go in. Oh man, these are just so cool looking. I'm looking forward to painting these things because they are so highly detailed for what they are. Ooh. Ew. And little skeleton guy. You know, he was just chilling, and then he's dead, and now he has to be part of an army. He was like, just let me be dead. Everything was fine. Oh yeah. Look at that. Look at that. That is freaking awesome. And, you know, the detail on this versus the detail on, you know, a traditional miniature war game, it's the same. I mean, this is like a AAA war game right here. It really is. Man, look at the wood detail on the shield there. That's going to be really fun to paint. Yeah, so the spear is a little not straight, but... And the plastic is nice and heavy. Sharp, too. These little spines are... You think if I get cut by one of these, I turn into a carrion worm? Is that how that works? And then, of course, here's the base. So, we'll put him on the base. It's all about that base. And then, that, in turn, goes on this. And... boom, you're ready to play right like that with your carrion worm. And If he falls in battle, then you would just take him off the base. I reckon since he's a single base figure, you would just take the whole thing off. But I actually saw a video, or not a video, but I saw some pictures. I follow a Facebook group for this game, and somebody had actually attached magnets to all of his figures. 3 core sets worth of figures, he said. I said, oh my god. But I thought that was a really neat idea. I might dabble with that. I'm not a competitive player, so it's not like I'm going to be taking my figures to play anywhere. There's nowhere around me to play, unfortunately. But so yeah, that is the skeleton spearman on the carrion worm. That is so awesome. Very cool. Let's take a look at one of the good guys. Let's find a good guy here. The Rune Golem. I don't know if we'll go through every single figure. I don't know if anybody wants to watch that. Since there's 48 of them, it'd be a pretty lengthy video, but again, it's more pieces than I originally thought it was going to be, but also I'm not scratching my head trying to figure out how to put this thing together. Man, these are just so cool. I love miniatures. Like, even if they're not for a game, I like to just get them and paint them and put them together and put them in little squadrons and take pictures of them and stuff. But there, that done. Boom, Rune Golem. Put him on the base. That is really cool. That is going to be fun to paint too, because there's so many different ways you could do that. Get your other foot on there. Thank you. So those are the two big baddies for each army. I mean, look at that. That is freaking awesome. There's like chunks missing out of his sword. Like, he's not fresh. Like, this Rune Golem's seen some things and some stuff. I wouldn't recommend it. War is hell. That is crazy. Those are just awesome looking. Top-notch, A+, regardless of if the game is good or not. I'm already giving this an A+ just for the quality of the miniatures. It's crazy. Let's take a look at some of the rank and file troops here. Let's at least get some of the little guys out here. I picked some skeleton archers. You don't really need, I mean, I guess if you really didn't want to, you wouldn't even have to really necessarily glue these together. I'm noticing with this one at least, it's a little bit harder to get in there. I might need to do a little bit of shaving. Also, I've got monstrous fat fingers, and it's hard to do this sometimes with big old fat fingers. Or maybe I have it on backwards. That could also be. Yeah. I was trying to put it on there backwards. So, one little skeleton archer. And two little skeleton archers. So what I was saying, yes, the Rune Golem and the Carrion Worm, the pieces fit together so well, like, you wouldn't really necessarily have to glue them. When it's all said and done, I will probably glue them. Actually, gluing is my least favorite part of doing miniature games, because I always end up gluing myself to myself. Little skeleton archer guys, and some more. Let's try to find some more of the knights. Oh, here's some of the knights on their horses. That's pretty cool. Or you know what? I guess let's look at the commanders, like the two commanders of the armies. because they also have this really cool special base that it's in the book. It's called a diorama base, and it's already sort of based. You would just have to paint it, or you could add some little grass to it or whatever. But it also, like, just the figure pops in there. It's a neat little thing. So probably needs a torso. I don't think he's just a head and legs. Yeah, there's the torso. Okay, so you might notice a brief little break there. Well, we got so excited about the miniatures that we actually had to cut the camera and put them all together. Like, we stopped making this video so we could play with toys. They're so awesome. I didn't want to go through every miniature, but we're gonna have to because they're so great. My cameraman, who is relatively new to miniature wargaming, he was able to put together this entire side of the army in the same amount of time that it took him to put one Warjack together. Less amount of time than it took him to put one Warjack together in War Machine. They're so idiot-proof, and it's so awesome because they're so detailed. Like, you can't put them together wrong. Now, the only drawback with that is, you know, some people like to kit bash and they like to customize and everything, and you can't really do that so much with these. But I personally am just like, let's get my stuff together, let's get it painted, I want to play the game. So it doesn't bother me too much. So people who are into kit bashing, I'm sorry, you may not dig this quite as much as we are, but we literally we stopped the camera, and I was still talking to the camera, and my cameraman was like, wait, let's put these all together because they're so awesome. Now, I was saying you didn't really need to glue these. I came across one set of guys, just one, 3, 4 guys. They're from the Skeleton, the Undead Army, where it's 3 pieces: the heads, tails, and a shield. The head part goes in there, no problem. The shield part goes in right here, and it's not sticking. I'm gonna have to glue that. It's just the piece is so small that it's just not sticking together. No big deal. I've got glue from other games. Out of all of these miniatures, 4 of them I'm gonna have to glue. I may go back and glue some of the other ones. I don't know. Honestly, like, I'm pretty sure once I coat these with primer, they're gonna stick. It's gonna seal them up and they'll stick. None of them are so frail that I'm like, oh, it's gonna fall apart. But we got them all together here. We've got the head of the I don't even know what the names of the armies are yet. I haven't even looked that up because I was so concerned with putting these together. This is the bad guy, head of the zombie horde. He's just got these 2 axes, and he's about to mess somebody up with those axes. It's cool. You've got skeleton archers, which we looked at a couple of them, but as you can see, there are numerous poses. Different poses for each of them, so that's really cool. You can put these guys in front, those guys shooting over them. It looks really great. It's going to look super thematic when you get it all done, and that's what I love. Like, I don't even care if it was part of a game. If I could just set these all up and make you know, little battle scenes on a table, that's really cool. I love doing that. But also, there's a game, so it's a plus. You got the one carrion worm. Then you got all these soldiers, these undead soldiers. Like, this guy's got a dagger and an axe, and he's got an axe and a shield, and they're ready. You've got brains, and they want them. They're coming for you. Oh man! Then we got some of the skeleton guys with these just dinged up swords. Like, I think I want to paint these all like rusted looking and everything. It's gonna be so awesome. His shield got chunks missing out of his shield. They're just so highly detailed. They're amazing. As you can probably tell, I want to play the undead army. I usually play the bad guys and everything, but I would even be cool with switching off and trying both sides because they're great looking. Here's these spearmen. They got their tower shields and their spears, and they're like, the undead are coming. Ah! Like yeah, check that out. That is so awesome. And then lots of spearmen. Looks like that's kind of their bag. Spears and shields and everything. And then you got these cavalry guys. Look how cool these are. Man, the armor on the horse. That is going to be a treat to paint. Like I almost don't want to paint them because I know my painting skills are not going to do justice to these miniatures. They're so great. Different again, different poses. Like you got this guy who's all like getting ready to swing, and it looks like this guy's charging. And the horses have a couple of different poses too. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do with that, but that's just these miniatures are just the tops. They are just great. So those are the contents for the Rune Wars miniatures game starter set, essentially. I mean, $100 price tag, and your first thought is to cringe, but I mean, there are just a miniature of this size from Games Workshop or somebody else is probably going to be a $100 miniature. I mean, maybe not from Privateer Press; they're pretty affordable, but you know, if I can spend $100 and get one miniature, or if I can spend $100 and get 48 miniatures and a whole cool looking game for an IP that just looks like a lot of fun, I'm gonna go that route every time. Fantasy Flight Games always does extremely high quality stuff, cardboard pieces, the cards, everything extremely high quality. I'm so ready. I am ready to get into this game. I want to get these guys. I might even play a few games before we actually paint these, because I want to check out how the gameplay actually rolls out. So, thank you for watching. I know this video probably ended up a little bit longer than most of our videos. I appreciate you sticking through to the end with us. Keep checking back for more on the Rune Wars miniatures game, on miniature games and unboxing videos, all that fun stuff here at the Smoking Dragon. And if you liked the video, give us a like. I really appreciate that. It helps us out a lot. And subscribe. Thanks, guys.